Hello, welcome to another episode of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. As always, I am trying to bring you amazing people with inspiring stories to tell from around the Sacramento community. And today, I think you guys are going to love this episode. I have Marc Laver in the building, and he's an amazing, amazing person. Stay tuned.
Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday Amazing. Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday Amazing. Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton.
Welcome back to the show. Without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Marc Laver. How are you?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. How I met Marcus at the playground, who in turn notified you about this opportunity, and I'm grateful to be here.
Now, for the people out there who don't know, Marcus is my director, and you're right, he was the one who gave me your information, and he told me that you were someone I really needed to have on my show just because of what you were doing. So just give me a little overview of some of the work that you do, because I understand like you have a foundation that helps kids with disabilities. So talk to me a little bit about that.
So what we did is, I had a little boy that was born in 1998, Jonnie Laver. He was healthy for the first couple of years of his life, but he contracted meningitis, and he became really ill, and he almost died. But he's just a tough, brave little kid. So in 2000, he sustained this injury, and shortly after that, my wife and I became advocates for inclusion, full inclusion, and he was the first kid to go to his elementary school from kindergarten to 6th grade. And we always surrounded ourselves with great people, support, and so then as he got a bit older, 2003-04, we started taking him to playgrounds and parks, and Linda and I noticed that some of the features in the playgrounds were kind of lacking, and he was in a wheelchair.
Right.
He was severely disabled. He lost his feet, parts of his hands. He couldn't see, couldn't hear very well. But we just knew that he could enjoy outdoor life, and we'd always tried to afford him the most that we could.
Right.
And so then we moved to this new area of Sacramento, and they're building all these parks, and then we saw the parks would go up, and they didn't have things for Jonnie and items and features. So we just politely I knew one of the council members, Ray Trethaway.
Okay.
And he connected me to the Mayor Fargo. We became friends. And basically, we just over the years kind of slowly petitioning and advocating for all kids, special kids that needed more play features.
Now, when you first started doing that, I'm assuming it was a process, right? So what was the support like when you first started advocating, you and your wife, for more accessibility?
In the playgrounds and everything. I mean, we always met with good people. I mean, it was. I think part of our way was just to be smart about it and just present options and do it in a polite way.
Right.
And I got to meet some of the architects, developers, and city council people, mayors. And so it all turned out good. I mean, and there are about 7 parks that they've modified in those early years from 2003 to like 2015. And then the big break came, unfortunately, my son died in 2019 from respiratory failure. It was expected, but it's hard. I mean,
right.
You lose a kid, it's
I can only imagine,
amazing.
yeah.
So then 2019, we approached the city to help, because I didn't tell you this part. In 2004 and 5, Jonnie helped dedicate Southside Playground.
Okay.
The city had built this large, accessible playground, largest in Sacramento, I think the largest in almost Northern California.
Yeah.
It's a huge park, and 2 big structures with wheelchair ramps. It was all rubberized, a surface, and very accessible. It's a neat park, playground. So then Jonnie was invited to help cut the ribbon.
That's amazing.
So then after that, it became a neat connection there, Sky. I developed this connection with our neighbors and wife, and it was just unreal. And Jonnie had a good time there.
You know what I think about that story is so great is that it's one of those things where if you see something, do something, right?
Right.
And so the fact that you notice that, hey, like, these parks, they don't have a lot of accessibility to my son, and instead of just saying, oh well, it is what it is, you were like, you know what, I am gonna try to change that. And not everyone does that, right? Like, a lot of people see things and they talk about how things should be and what they could be, but not a lot of people take action. And the fact that you advocated and pushed so hard for this, I think that's an amazing thing to do, and it's a very inspiring thing to do. It takes a lot of courage and just the ability to move forward with it. Not, like I said, not everyone does that. So second off, the way that you went about it, like you said, politely and the connecting with other good people, right?
I made the difference. I mean, because we had over 150 donors, we raised almost $50,000. So let me back up again a little bit. So then after 2019, Jonnie died in March. By that November, we went to the city, and there was an abandoned merry-go-round that had been abandoned for maybe 4 years. It's a picture of it right here on the flyer. It had been abandoned for maybe 48 months, and I'd go to the park a lot. It was a good place for me to seek refuge, kind of, and then I just thought, well, let's replace it. I mean, I'll help pay for it. My family will help. We'll get donors, companies, the community. And then it turned out by, I think, early 2020, the city agreed to this kind of general MOU plan where they would install it, they pay the installation cost, and then we would raise money to pay for it. $30,000 at the cost of it. So the next 12 months, 13 months, we raised money to put that in. And then by November of 2021, it was installed.
Wow.
The day before Thanksgiving.
Right.
And I think you saw some of the videos, and pretty special. The first one in Sacramento, and a wheelchair. It was all built for wheelchair accessibility. And that.
Matter of fact, I think we have some pictures we're going to take a look at. I think of it, I'm trying to snap. Take a look at the screen right here.
Okay. So that's a picture of the structure. That was taken quite a bit that was about 2002.
Okay.
Okay, and that picture is of our new project. So what we're going to do is add a sensory play station there. It's about 18 feet long. And that's part of our current project where we're trying to raise about $50,000 for that.
Okay. So something that comes to mind, what has been some of the most rewarding experiences since you started this project and trying to make parks more accessible?
So I think the main thing is having more accessibility for kids that are special. I mean, to see a wheelchair kid, and I see it all the time. I go to the park probably 4 times a week. On the weekends, they have special park events that go on, and I help out plan those. So I'm there a lot. But to see kids enjoy the merry-go-round, the other features in the park, they added music features too. And it's just a place where kids can unite and connect with other people. So I think that's why the playground's so special. That if you have special needs, you can go and play and have fun and meet new people. And then seeing parents, hearing them express how vital having these features are, that's a big thing. And then I've met a lot of people there that don't have special kids, say, but I'm connected to them now because they have big hearts. So it's made me reflect on how good I think humanity is. It's important.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I had never thought about it before until, I met you and then I heard about the work that you're doing. when I was younger, I was a big, I used to go to the park a lot, play basketball and stuff like that. But I never put two and two together, And so when I heard about the work that you're doing, I was like, man, that's amazing, because not everyone thinks like that, And so another question I have is, like, what has been, when a park is being built, like, does the city normally take into account the accessibility for all kids, or is it something, obviously with Southside Park, this was something that had to be built and put together, but normally is it something that I wonder, and you may have the answer, you may not, but I just wonder normally what the thought process is when a park is being built. Like, is that something that normally they take into consideration?
It does.
Okay.
So what happens is, when parks first develop, architects and planners will go out to the community and do like a survey. They'll do a general neighborhood survey. Then they come back and they compile data, like what the residents like, how they preferred. There could be multiple options of themes and structures and how it would look. And then there's ADA laws that came out in 1990, and they've been important. They've done some great things to make it accessible. But I think where a bit of the divide comes in is that there's a phrase called universal design, and within that realm, there's just more. It's heightened. There's more features that, like the Universal Park we have Southside, that has the music, the merry-go-round. Now it's going to have some more sensory panels, braille, communication panels. That's like above what most parks have.
Okay.
So, and there's budget constraints.
Right.
Sometimes cities, they can't afford having a merry-go-round like we have here.
Right.
There might be things like braille. We're going to try to get NASA braille. I have a connection with NASA, and they're going to add these braille panels one day.
I think that's amazing.
And that's wayfinding. A kid that's blind or low vision can walk up and they can sense where they are. They can feel a planet, and then they can tell them where the next planet is, and they can navigate throughout the playground. That's one of my big visions. Might take a couple years, but
I think you'll get there.
I want to plan that.
No, I think you'll get there. We're going to take a quick PSA break, and then we're going to be right back after these messages, and then we'll continue talking to Marc Laver.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Welcome back to the show. I am still here with Marc Laver, and before we went to the break, we were talking about braille, and I think we have a picture of some, if not braille.
So that's a communication panel.
Okay.
So that's in our next phase. We're probably looking at early next year installation. So on the right, you have a neat communication panel, and there's about 4 or 5 areas in the playground existing right now that are blank. They're empty.
Got it.
So I've worked with the architects and the planner and the director and just said, hey, if we bring you the money again, can we add this? So they're gonna take care of the installation part. We'll install it. And then on the left, you had the other picture you just showed, there's a Serenity Spot, it's called. And that's gonna go kind of next to the north structure, and it's a kind of a desensitizing area where it's mainly for autistic kids. They can kind of go in this little quiet zone. And that's, again, not on a lot of playgrounds. So
Right.
This kind of playground is unique in that it affords just a multitude of features that a regular playground wouldn't have. But that's not to say that those aren't good playgrounds.
Right.
All playgrounds are good, but just some have to be built with taking into account a broader population. So that's where we've been advocating for.
Yeah, like I said, it's really made me think a lot about it, because I have never before, like, this was brought to me, I never thought about what goes into that, so it's good to kind of get more insight into how that process works, and I'm pretty sure some of our viewers out there, I'm pretty sure like for them, they didn't know how that process worked either, right? Now tell me a little bit about, obviously 2021, we were still dealing with COVID. Did you find it difficult to continue pushing forward with this project, or how was?
No, I mean, I think it probably gave me more incentive to do well. I mean, I think when I heard about all the kids wearing masks or being inside, and I'm kind of an outdoor guy, so I would always think they got to be outside playing in a playground.
Right,
So I was
right.
hoping our project would raise money, because I didn't tell you this part, the whole renovation of the playground was happening too. So as our merry-go-round was being installed, the city replaced all the rubber surface of the playground, and they had other things going on. So it was shut down for like a year. So during that time, we did have some play dates and events programming, and that was hard a little bit because kids had to wear a mask and they had to be separated, and we had Mozak, SMUD, like the Aerospace Museum came out. I tried to promote more space-themed playground events, because the whole playground's around space. And anyway, some of the programs didn't happen because of COVID, but we raised our money fairly quick, and then by Thanksgiving, the merry-go-round came in, and then a few months later, the music came in, and there are these music instruments that are right behind the merry-go-round, so kids can bang on these instruments, and it's all tactile, sensory. And then when the other things come in the next year, it's going to make it even more richer.
What has the volunteer support been like?
Well, on the volunteer side, it's been the city helps out once a month, and they provide their big job, our big trailer comes, big truck, and they bring tools, and we do a big cleanup. And we have, in fact, today I heard some news that a company's going to come out in mid-August to help. And it's a company that they're going to bring 30 people maybe, or 20 people.
Wow.
And we have projects where we might clean the perimeter fence. I didn't tell you this. We had a special needs school come out and paint the whole outside of the fence with symbols, kind of resembled space symbols like this.
Space symbols, okay.
And then that was 2 years ago, so it needs to be cleaned.
Right.
We have other projects. We're going to have some special kids do some painting of signs, permanent signs. We're just trying to be inclusive.
Right.
So I'm going to have just a community effort, but to have special needs kids come in and help design and implement and have a permanent legacy.
That's what I was just gonna say. Something that's gonna be there
That's pretty
as they
unique.
get older, and when they
imagine
get
that.
grown. Right.
And other kids that'll see that, they'll be more inclined to have respect, mutual respect, or get integrate more.
Now, did you ever think when you first started this that it would grow like it has?
Not really, but I've always been a pretty optimistic guy. Even though my kid died, I try to be positive, and we met so many good people along the way that it seemed like it was bound to be good.
Yeah, I mean, like you just have this energy, man, this energy and aura, like it's very sincere. So I can see how you would get a lot of support, and I feel like you're one of those individuals that just genuinely wants to do good and believes in people, right? And so that's why, like earlier, I asked about the the volunteer support, because I think more people definitely, as they hear about what you're doing, would be more than willing to come and help out.
And our website, when you go to the website, johnnysdreamplayground.com, there's a link that you can sign up for, and I get an email. So we've had quite a few people over the years. That started in 2020. And then the volunteer days, one's coming up Saturday.
Okay, this Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a partnership with the city of Sacramento. And this nice gentleman named Esteban comes out and brings this big truck, and I bring coffee and donuts. And my daughter went to high school at St. Francis, and they're very neat school. They had volunteers the last 3 years would come out. They'd get service hours, and the dads would come out, and we had this great partnership, and it continues. Even though my daughter left, She goes up to school in Oregon. In fact, let me tell you this. There's a playground in Oregon that I'm working on.
Okay, all right.
So it's on the campus, the University of Oregon, and there was like a 50-year-old playground that wasn't accessible looking. So I've approached the university and we're trying to work on a plan. It might take a bit of time, but.
Do you get, have you gotten any letters or just, I'm pretty sure you get parents who talk to you and tell you how much they appreciate the work you're doing, but have you gotten any letters from?
Sometimes. I've been recognized a little bit, but it's not really about that. I think the whole plan is to make sure there's more kids to get to experience a rich playground and the parents are connecting. That's another goal too, to have parents connect as special kids, because you can lead an isolated life when you have a special kid. And I think the more connections in the community that they can make, it's healthier. And I think that's, again, the playground is like a mecca for that. So that's been rewarding to see that. And it's led into my current position where I work right now at UCP. United Cerebral Palsy is a very wonderful group that helps special adults and kids. And I'm their advocate. And I help connect leaders and individuals and companies to our agency to help expand our mission. That's been nice. We have the recreation department. It's providing more opportunities. There's a respite program for parents to have their kids watched. Transportation, adult day program, and so it's been neat to be on the forefront of that.
Something you mentioned earlier about you know, having a special needs kid can be isolating, right? And you know, I never thought about it that way, but I'm pretty sure, you know, anyone out there who has a special needs kid, they probably can relate to that, right? And so, you know, taking your kids to the playground and taking them to the park and then meeting other parents, it really is a place where people come together, right? Come together for support, come together to share stories, and you know, it means a lot. And having you on the show has made me realize how important it is. And I gotta ask, you know, when you were younger, I would think that you were a big playground person. You were taken to the park a lot when you were young, and
I grew up on the beach in L.A.
Okay.
It was a town called Manhattan Beach. You ever heard of that? It's right by the L.A. airport, and it was like this magical wonderland. But there were quite a few parks. But yeah, I think at 7 o'clock I was out of the house and didn't come home till 6.
Okay, so you were always
surfing, playing on those big open sand dunes. We had this big sand dune park, it was called. It's a famous park. In fact, the Lakers used to train there.
Really? Okay.
It's a famous park called Sand Dune Park, and look it up. It's a famous park. They had to close it off because there's so many people went to it. But that was a great magical playground, but I think that did have. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's probably made what I'm doing now more possible to have that background.
I think so, because it has to be something that pushes you to do this, and
then Johnny's legacy is important.
Yeah.
But the city too. The city's been very good, working with all the leaders at the city. Jackie Beecham is the director. It's been very nice, and Jeff, Jason, I could name 10 people that have been unreal.
I think we have a picture of a future completion project that you mentioned.
Show me.
Let's take a look. So we have.
Okay, so that's a merry-go-round. That was a new merry-go-round that was installed in November, and it's unique. I mean, the model came out not that long ago from a company back in Michigan that makes it, or Minnesota, and it has the deck and the skirt are level, the ground, and two wheelchairs can fit in it, and kids can push it. A kid in a wheelchair can push from the outside.
It's amazing.
I mean, and that was one of the play dates we had about a year ago.
Okay. I think the next picture we have is this one, right?
Okay, so that's on our website. That's going to be a vision maybe in about 2 years. It's some Braille. You see the Braille on the left? There's a Braille signage from NASA, picnic bench and a sensory garden. So it's another vision where we're trying to renovate an empty area and just revitalize it, make it just more enriching. And we're going to do that. That'll cost quite a bit, but I want to raise money for that too.
I think you're going to get it, and I want to thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your story. But before we go, I want to have you take one of those cards. This is something I like to do with some of my guests sometimes, where I have them take a card and just answer whatever question they get on the card.
So you want me to read this?
Yeah, just read it and answer it, whatever question you ended up getting.
Okay. Putting pressure on me here. Which of your possessions would you be good to throw away? Probably all my paper.
Oh, your
all
paper.
my paper that I collect.
Okay, it's a collector.
I have paper, bills, paper I've collected, magazines, just all kinds of junk.
Okay.
I should give that away. Linda would be happy if she heard that, my wife.
All right, well, I want to thank you so much, man, again, for sharing your story. I think people like you are why I do what I do, because I really want to highlight people around the community who are just doing really good work. And you are a person who's doing really good work. You inspire a lot of people, and you touch a lot of lives with the stuff that you're doing. And I know you're going to continue to do great things, and I can't wait to see it. And I want you to give out your social information again, how people can reach you, how people can go and donate on the website.
So I'll tell you, it's Jonnie'sDreamPlayground.com, and there's a link. We have a connection with the City of Sacramento, Gifts to Share. So you click that, and it's Jonnie's Dream Playground, and you can find the link that way.
Okay.
So it's called Gifts to Share, and you click that, and you go Jonnie's Dream Playground at Southside Park, and they can do it. You can send in a check too, or they take a little charge, like a 3% charge if it's credit card, but that's very generous of you to say that. But I think we have about 20,000 in the account right now, and I'm going after some bigger companies, trying to get PepsiCo. They did a big donation in 1992, and there'll be some nice opportunities, grants.
Right.
The city's been helpful, the county, Phil Cerna.
Right.
He was generous.
Well, I want to thank you again, and I want to thank my viewers out there for watching another episode of Everyday Amazing, and I will see you guys next time.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.